Hello everyone, this is Heath the Dragon, and welcome back to another episode of Fire Emblem Heroes. As you can see, we did terrible this season. Didn't even make it to Tier 7. All we needed to do was win one more match, and we couldn't even do that. But this week also was not trying too much. Ended up deciding to go for the Don't Use Earth Rendering challenge for the heck of it. I did see some decent use of Rallying Cry. A lot of people used it to just buff speed because the speed meta in Duels is pretty ridiculous. I did face a few teams where units were hitting in the 70s and close to 80s in speed, even without team support, so... Here we have Legendary Azura, who it turns out it matters that I screwed up with her skill set. I left B-Dual Flying 3 on her because I was using her in Arena, and so I didn't notice it wasn't attack speed push 4. Definitely comes to bite me in one of the matchups where, spoiler alert, she misses the kill by 1, so I can't go for that play. And this time around I decided to goofball a bit and toss in some units that I don't actually have any real skills on, but still put them in there to basically psych people out into banning the teams. Like Brave Hector, for example, is not a far safe unit. Nagi is definitely not a far safe unit, but again, the idea is just to psych people out, and most of the time people did ban our second and third teams. I don't think anyone banned our fourth team. It's such a bad team, so that makes sense. But so we ended up using a lot of the first team. I designed the first team so Brave Erica and Legal have the same speed to use speed opening effectively, but other than that, you know, Ostia's Pulse, giving our units lower cooldown specials. I actually also screwed up on the Gult. I meant to put Glimmer on him, so he would have 1 cooldown Glimmer to combo Hurricane Dagger, and Lancebreaker for like Brave Hectors, but we didn't see too many Brave Hectors. Anyways, we'll go straight into the replays here. Of course, there's not going to be too many of them because we didn't do that well. And another thing that we did this week was, or this season, was just not really thinking about what the opponent was going to do. I just came up with my own plan and just went with it. So, obviously that definitely contributed to things going poorly. The first thing to note here, of course, is this Sylvain and the Arthur, even though it's not merged at all. And I believe this is just base kit with some stuff slapped on, basic skill inheritance. We have to be careful about those two. And then, of course, Brave Alm is just the juggernaut in terms of actual damage. So we would basically need Atri to deal with him. Brave Erica does not stand a chance. I believe, as long as he has attack speed menace up. But Sylvain is the biggest problem here because the Gult is unfortunately 3 points of speed short from doubling him when he has attack speed menace up. And let's just say we're at +5 out of 20 Dragon Flowers, so that definitely had nothing to do with it here. But the Loki is not as big of a problem. Our problem is just the Sylvain, because Atri also does not have a great... Atri can take him out, but she has to not be debuffed, I believe, to not get absolutely obliterated to her attack stat. Because no, -19 attack, even though she inflicts -14 res, is still a big deal. So here is where we make our first mistake. So obviously their plan is to reposition Sylvain back in because... Or not reposition Sylvain, but move him just up here because none of our units can actually threaten him. And of course there's still the far safe Arthur to protect him. So here I would have had to be pretty aggressive and realize that we can just draw back here with Legault to immediately start threatening that. But the problem with that is then they have other plays as well to make. They can for example, swap Alm, or a number of things, maybe just even stalling for turns because there's no tangible threat from us yet. We're basically just being uh, preemptively protecting against things, but we don't do that, so they just do exactly the correct play here. And I just draw back Atri down because I know she can take out Arthur, even without doing... I also didn't do any damage calcs, but just by guesstimation, could pretty much tell. They correctly take out Brave Erica, who's really the only threat to Sylvain at this point, because Atri is too low on HP. The Gult, again, can't double him naturally, so Flash of Steel doesn't really do anything here. So I just have Legendary Hector do that. As you can see, Atri gets taken out. They also correctly do that, and it's basically over at this point because Sylvain is just going to take out Legault. We can take out Brave Alm barely, but again, we can't double Sylvain, so it's just over. Unfortunately, we probably could have won this match with better play. It's one of the matches where we probably had a chance of winning, but we just didn't play it correctly. I think we would have had to be pretty aggressive with pressing space, because we can't just leave our units on the edge of their threat range, because then they can just keep pressing forward, and we can't do anything about it, because we're getting outranged and we don't have a far save unit, so we have to press forward. It's basically our only strat. Here, again, we're using this team. We use this team a lot, and it is pretty fun. We essentially get Rallying Cry without having to use it as our captain skill, as long as our units are in range of Legendary Zura. For the case of Atri Hector, speed opening is available for the other folks. But here, I figured it was going to be Fjorm as the save unit, seeing this team. So their only real threat here is Atri. So they have to not sack Atri for any of our units, actually. But if they're going to sack for any of our units, it has to be for our Atri. So I actually do this because I incorrectly counted tiles. I thought that Atri was going to... I don't know what I was thinking. I thought Atri canceling out was going to be more out of range of Ascended Fjorm to like just swap in. Of course, even if Atri was stuck here, you know, Ascended Fjorm could move in. But at least that way we could go after Ascended Fjorm that way. We actually still go after Ascended Fjorm because we have Legault, of course. So, able to exactly kill, totally not rigged. Again, no damage calcs there, so that was just lucky. We would have been okay if we didn't have to deal with that, but the thing is, actually we wouldn't have been okay. It was critical that we did pick up that kill. Very fortunate we did, because now we have Atri against Atri, and we just have a massive advantage because of the way our turns are ordered now, and unfortunately for them, they don't have enough damage reduction, and they probably wouldn't have been able to get enough anyways. So it's already over for them. Very fortunate for us to pick up that exact one-round KO on Ascended Fjorm. But again, we should really have Glimmer on Legault instead of Luna for the Glimmer on the second attack. So it wouldn't have been exact lethal in that case, but what are you gonna do? Here, up against this team, kind of surprised that this person ended up choosing this team. I don't know if they ran out of time or something and they got auto-picked. I don't know how it works, but this was the much weaker team that I saw they had, so I was fine not banning this team. Most of the time for the bans, there were Yuris with a potential far save unit, by which case I cannot face that team. I'll basically lose 99 out of 100 matches in that kind of instance. The opponent really has to throw for me to win that kind of matchup. And then there were duo dagger teams with super high mobility nukes. Also just can't face those teams. I'm just gonna get steamrolled. They can just keep exchanging units on their own accord, and I can't do anything about it. So here we're kind of just goofballing around with Atri. Basically our strat here. And yeah, they don't really have a great win condition because Legendary Hector can just sit and derp around, just eating up space essentially, but Legendary Hector is mostly there for Ostia's Pulse too, not going to lie. He surprisingly is a decently tanky post-remix because of his damage reduction and debuffing the enemy by 10 attack during combat. It's pretty solid, and of course, denying follow-up attacks unless they have an out against that, so... Here, they just don't really have much they can do, so... We're just free to do whatever we like, and they ended up doing this, so we just can go ahead and pick up the free kill, and it's just over. So we're up against Meme here. This person just had too many good teams for me to deal with, so I was like, out of all the teams I can possibly handle, it would maybe be this team. But yeah, looking at the team immediately, I knew we were in for a treat. And Lucina Emblem to the max. Chill attack and chill speed here are actually pretty solid as well. Lucina here, definitely a juggernaut for speed against my team here. With distant pressure and sealed falchion alone, that's already 15 more speed for 64, and then 70 speed, potentially 76 with rouse attack speed 4 active, and then of course this Brave Lucina with ally support as well. I believe ally support works in this mode, so definitely quite a fast sword hero that is reasonably bulky and has immune time as well with Brave Lucina to combo. So, unfortunately for us, we don't have a great out because there's actually an even worse problem on our hands, and that is the Valentine Lucina, who's just way too fast for us again. 75 speed with max form up, but doesn't need that much speed against my team anyways. Like, Legault's probably the fastest unit on my team, and he only gets up to 66 speed if he had his field buffs up. But as you can see, the neutralizer most bonus during combat is kind of a problem, so we're just doomed from the get-go. Of course, they don't have fire save, but it kind of doesn't matter just because of how we are stuck with trying to deal with Valentine, Lucina, and their base Lucina. They do just give up their legendary Lucina for free there though, which is nice for us, but that's about it because they understand that their Lucina is just going to absolutely murder our team. So Brave Erica can't do anything, even with Menace up. It's just an absolute nightmare for us. They decide to just attack the Brave Hector, or Legendary Hector here. Sets up their Sealed Falchion permanently. They have Noontime as well now for healing. And now they have their near save unit approaching, and again, we have absolutely nothing. We can't double this Valentine Lucina with anyone on our team. And she has, of course, the damage reduction from both Gerbera X and Savvy Fighter, which also neutralizes our guaranteed follow-up attack unit Atri, so it's just an absolute nightmare of a matchup. We have no chance to win. I don't think we had any chance of winning, but I believe it was this match where Legendary Zura missed the kill was missing the kill at some point on their Lucina by 1 damage. Again, probably wouldn't have mattered too much because they can just keep pressing forward with their Lucinas, but I think it would have been much more difficult for them to win if we had the same scenario where they essentially just sacked the Legendary Lucina for free. But again, no damage calcs here, so we're just pointlessly chipping away at their Valentine Lucina because we don't have anything better to do. And yeah, at this point, they're smartly keeping their weaker units away. I could have also chosen to take out their Brave Lucina with Legault pretty early on because he can just one-round KO her, especially with Flash of Steel. No counterattack needed, no counterattack from her at all, but it wouldn't have mattered, of course. But I figured it just wasn't worth it. Probably should have done it. It would have made the match at least slightly more feasible for me, but really it didn't really matter too much. Just this Lucina on her own pretty much just walls my entire team, which is kind of awkward. So yeah, not a great matchup. Here we have another abysmal match. Again, too many bad matchups for us to deal with, so I just banned I believe it was a Yuri team and a Duo Dagger team. We just have nothing against that. And this is basically the bootleg version of a Duo Dagger team, essentially. Just having high mobility nukes. In this case, it's just all cabs. Our win condition essentially is to get rid of Legendary Leaf and call it a day. But again, I'm not taking into account what the enemy is doing. So they already have Legendary Lilna in a fantastic position, and we're basically already screwed from the get-go. We're going to be down on capture points, so I decided to just Desperado pick up the kill there. Reinhardt's able to one-round KO because we're too low on HP, and we're in just a terrible spot. We can run away with Legault here, but they're just going to reposition in Legendary Leaf, so I decided to just go in. It's very straightforward for them to win at this point, so nothing we can really do because we can't exchange for Legendary Leaf in a convenient way, so it's just over. Because Legendary Leaf is pseudo bulky here, we pretty much need Brave Erica to kill. I believe Atri can also do it, but again, setting up a scenario where that could happen would have had to come from turn 1. So I don't know why I pivoted Legendary Hector. Kind of no point in doing so. But Brave Erica, don't know if she just couldn't take out Brave Legendary Hector if he's one-shotting or something.
No choice.
I really doubt he's one-shotting, but kind of awkward. I'm guessing they just didn't want to exchange Brave Erica for Legendary Hector, but it would have been worth it because with Legendary Leaf, Brave Erica's in a terrible spot. Our Brave Erica. And well, at this point, they're already winning on points, so they don't have to do anything. They can just camp around. They also have the advantage in terms of turn or action order, turn order, because we're moving first, which is not advantageous to us if we're trying to be aggressive. You want to go second so you can apply pressure since they have to use one of their actions first, which becomes more meaningful in a situation like this where you only have 2 units left each. So yeah, just poor play, just absolutely got mauled. And here is the only time where we get to use this team here. Of course, our Brave Hector is basically going to do nothing here. He can, of course, be a threat to, for example, the Legendary Ike here. Probably don't want to initiate, but like, Fallen Edelgard is going to shrug him off. Legendary Claude player phase, I mean, what the heck is Brave Hector going to do? So, here, I mistapped turn 1. So, I didn't mean to put Duo Core in here. I actually wanted to put her here with the intent of, with the potential of moving forward, using the teleportation from Harmonized Catcher. So we already goofed up turn 1. I was debating whether to immediately reposition her back, but I was like, let's just double down and move forward. And then I mistap again and dance from the left. So it's already 2 mistaps in the match. 10 out of 10. So I figured we're going all in. Let's just have Dual Core come to town. And the problem is, Fallen Edelgard. Of course, she's not transformed, but the problem is dual core and also not a great matchup. Again, I wasn't doing my damage calcs, so I didn't know how things were gonna go down. But I was thinking, even I think dual core can pick up the kill because again we have Flash of Steel, so she can charge up Moonbow when we pop the duo skill to attack again. But I just felt like exchanging dual core for Fallen Edelgard wasn't the right play. I probably should have, in hindsight, done it. That definitely would have been great, but we don't do that, and so we screw ourselves over, essentially, because now we're just absolutely doomed, because Fallen Edelgard is coming to town. And here, again, Brave Elm also can't one-round KO Fallen Edelgard, but can do a bit of damage, but we just decide to pivot up Brave Hector, and again, we weren't doing damage calcs, so I didn't realize in doing so that screwed over Brave Elm, so they get one shot. And then, I don't know why I danced Brave Hector, I meant to dance Dual Corrin, another mistap, so everything's going handy dandy. This match was just an abomination of terrible play. And to top things off, I believe Auto Battle goes off here. Is it this turn? No, I forget what turn it is. It might have already happened, but there was a point where there was 2 seconds left on my clock. I made my action, but apparently the game servers didn't care and switched to Auto Battle. So I just got screwed over that way. It was sometime during this match. I was not paying attention. So yeah, absolute abomination of a match. Pretty sure we should have been able to win this, although they do have the combination of Ashe and Legendary Claude. I felt like with what we had left, it would have been sufficient to try for a win, even if we exchanged Dual Corrin for Fallen Edelgard. But if Fallen Edelgard isn't here, we just have a field day with Dual Corrin against this team, because again, a Flash of Steel. So, unfortunate. Probably should have won this match, but what are you gonna do about it? And with that, of course, since that was already 4 losses, we did absolutely terrible, but what are you gonna do about it? In hindsight, really, I think it was this first match here and this last match where we realistically should have won one of them, at least, but we were not playing well at all. And unfortunately, because of that, we also don't even make top 3K. The reward difference is pretty negligible, so don't really care too much. It's more about just the rank bragging rates, which again, at this point in the game, don't really care for. So we're just gonna keep trying to go up tiers. A bit unfortunate we couldn't make tier 7 here. All we needed to do is win one more match, but couldn't do that, unfortunately. But that'll be our goal for the next season, I guess. It's technically guaranteed, I believe, because we automatically, we get the automatic 3 bot matches, so as long as I don't lose a bot match, should be fine to go up at least one more tier. But until then, that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. As always, this is Ether Dragon, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!